Moving to Orlando was not an easy decision. It was one of the biggest decisions we ever had to make, though.
Hello everyone, I'm Jordan. This is my wife Kelsey. We're the Vashers on the Go. And in this video, we just kind of want to give you a little bit of backstory. We came from South Carolina and we moved down here to Orlando. And a little about what life was like back in South Carolina. We had our family around us. Both of our families are from there. And we just had a long history there. We really had nothing to complain about. The biggest thing, I would say a big reason why we ended up making that decision to make the move was we felt like we were kind of getting into a rut of doing the same thing over and over and not necessarily being able to do the things we truly wanted to do or felt like we wanted to do or we felt like what was best for our family.
Yeah, totally agree. Like he said, both of us were born and raised there. My whole family had been there, even my parents. We were all born in the same hospital, so it's like that's all we ever knew. The same thing over and over again.
You had generations there.
Yeah, so for us, it's all we ever knew.
So what was the reason we ended up choosing to move to Orlando? Really, it came down to a lot of different things. There was a lot of thought about it. It wasn't just we woke up one day and said, hey, let's move there. There was definitely a lot of thought put into it. So one of my big things, I was always wanting to move ever since I was a little kid. It was just always a dream of mine. Now, of course, other dreams throughout life might change your path, because when I got married, her dream was never to move. She liked being around.
I was a hard no when he brought it up to me, so we'll just go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to move pretty early on in our marriage, but ultimately we decided the best thing to do was stay around in South Carolina and be near family and all that stuff. But over the years throughout our marriage, we had some circumstances that changed our thoughts on it. And I know Kelsey can go over a few of those things that she had.
Yeah, I know personally for me, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and ultimately ended up beating that. And then about 6 weeks later was diagnosed again with oral cancer after that. And so unfortunately it ultimately ended up taking her. And I just remember a lot of conversations that I remember having with my mom throughout the course of care and stuff like that, just because I was there with her, caring for her and things like that. We would have a lot of deep conversations, mother to daughter. And my mom's basic guidance to me was, you're never promised tomorrow. Don't waste the time. Enjoy the life that you're given. And so that really hit me, especially when we lost her, that I didn't want to stay in the rut that we felt like we were already starting to feel like we were in. And so that really shifted things for me as, what I started to think, well, what if, we get 10 years down the road, am I going to regret not ever doing that? So that was a huge shift for me, for sure.
Yeah, and I know some of the conversations we had along the way, we probably started talking about it 2023-ish.
Yeah.
Right around then, and it was maybe just me just saying I'd still like to move, something like that. Not necessarily.
Very nonchalant, like it wasn't anything serious at that point, for sure.
Yeah. But really, towards the end of 2024 is probably when we really started having the conversations. And we were getting into, let's maybe make this our 3 to 5 year plan. And we'll do this in 3 to 5 years, look at to where we want to move.
And here's something you probably should know about both of us is neither one of us love change. So this was like a huge deal to even be talking about this seriously. And then even like when we had a 3 to 5 year plan, this was a huge thing for both of us to make that shift of, okay, we know this is something we probably should do and need to do, but are we going to actually do it?
Yeah. But that 3 to 5 year plan ended up turning into a 1 year plan.
Yeah, our timeline definitely moved up to a lot faster pace than we anticipated, but I think, everything happens for a reason for sure. And it kind of pushed us. We put a date on it, and because we knew if we never put a date on it, we would never leave. And I think that's also because we're both very averse to change. We get comfortable.
I get comfortable where I'm at. I don't like
and
change.
the thing is we had really everything around us that we needed.
So, of course, the big risk for anyone getting ready to move is your job's located in one place. And not for everyone. Sometimes your jobs can move with you.
Yeah.
But I'm in a position working with my brother. We own a lawn care business back in South Carolina. So that's a big change right there we've been working together for 20 years, grown it to be a very successful landscape business up there. And I had to have that conversation with my brother saying, hey, this is something I really want to do. And he was very supportive of the decision that I was making. I guess we should really talk about why we ended up choosing Orlando area.
Yeah, I mean, I can say for myself, well, I'll just say Florida in general has always been a place that I have loved to come to. The beaches are beautiful. Obviously, the parks are down here, Disney World and Universal, both equally. We love both of them. The sunshine, the weather, the opportunities, and the activities down here. It's always been a place that I have loved to come. So Florida for me was really a no-brainer. I wouldn't necessarily say that for Jordan. So I don't know if you.
So for me, like I said, I have always wanted to move. And when I would say I want to move, I'd say, oh, let's move to Las Vegas. But it came down to Florida. It really started probably since we were kids. We both have loved the theme parks around here. We both grew up going to them, some as kids.
Yeah.
But in 2019 is probably when it started really getting solidified. If we were to ever move somewhere,
we both loved it here as we traveled here together with our families, our kids, even just the memories that we had. It started, like you said, solidifying that this was a place that we both enjoyed and felt like we could, at that point, explore the option of living here.
Yeah. So 2019, her parents actually took us on a family vacation. They want to take the whole family, the grandkids and all their grandkids, not ours.
We don't have those yet.
So they took us on a Disney trip. It had been a while since either one of us had been to Disney at that point. And then that trip in 2019, I think a couple years later, we decided to come, just her and I, and then
our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. And then I think it was a couple months later we decided to take the kids.
Yeah.
And
it was just a snowball effect.
We just started coming down here. Not that it's too much, but very often.
Yes.
And that's probably what ended up making us choose the Orlando area.
So I know personally for me, he talked about how, before we were moving and stuff, he's always wanted to move. So for him, it felt like probably a seamless thing before moving. Felt very peaceful for him, ready to go. And I for sure felt a piece of knowing that this is what we're supposed to do. And I will say, though, as a mom, too, I had not doubts, but I definitely am very much a thinker and overthinker in a lot of situations. I like plans and things like that. So the unknown, I don't want to say freaked me out, but I definitely had thoughts in my mind, especially being a mom and, wanting to make sure that our kids are taken care of and things like that. And like we said, we had been all around family. So we were taking our kids away from all of that, all the support, Of course, I'm going to just touch on this real quickly and, move on from here. But I feel like also we're both believers, and so I feel like the Lord definitely had been probably pulling us in this direction for a long time. And when you get comfortable in what you're in, and you kind of like to tend to ignore those things and Him speaking to you, and I kind of feel like probably He was doing that for a while. And Jordan probably knew already because he was ready to go. Me, I was probably more avoiding it just because of, the circumstances and things. But when you really come to a place to follow His lead and His plan, it's funny how things just fall right into place and that you feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I know I had touched and he had said, that I'm a travel agent, and I've been doing that for almost 4 years now. And even just being here now in this area, how opportunities have already arose, and I've made more connections, and even just being in this location, we're very central to the parks, obviously, cruise ports all around us. So a lot more opportunity here for sure for me to grow my business too.
Was it the right decision? Absolutely. It's been it's only been 2 months, but they've been a very good 2 months for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so our day to day now is, of course, I'm out there working, growing the business, and then on the weekends, we still like to take that time to relax, spend time together with family, whether it's going to the parks, of course, going to church, or there's tons of things to do in Florida. You got springs, you got beaches not that far away.
Yeah.
So there's tons of different things. We like paddleboarding, stuff like that. So if you're enjoying this, please make sure you subscribe and like the video. And some of the next things you'll see coming up in some of our future videos might be with me going out, showing you some of the stuff I do for work. Maybe some of it will be Kelsey going over some of how she does her travel stuff.
Of course, we want to take you guys on the road with us too, some when we're going to the parks or doing things like that. Sometimes we like to do fun challenges in the park and stuff. So we promise we won't be just sitting here talking to you guys like this every single time. We want to mix it up and just show you guys some of what he does, some of what I do, what we do as a family, and just everyday life. So we hope you guys will follow along.